Good evening, everyone, and welcome to VPRL's Oktoberfest of Speed Round 2. Here we are at Spa, qualifying just underway. Drivers are on their first hot lap here. And we are with Sector 7's hovercraft here, who is representing Sector 7 Racing. First out on track. Right behind him we have VPR's Long Shots racing for the home team. Victory Pace Racing. Sector 7's to Truth Serum, racing for Greasy and YouTube Racing. Idleline VR, here for Speedhouse Racing and newly formed Ultimate Flat Out Racing League. We've got Eric, aka Dr. Jethro, for Epilepsy Awareness Racing. Quiet Bird here representing the Infinite Octane Racing Team. RW's Chevy representing GT Champions. Cake Thomas representing Midwest Esports. And then there's Crash and Chris representing Monkey Mafia Esports. MTV representing the newly formed Gear Bangers Racing League. And RWB's Ilon representing RWB. Sanchez representing the Aston Gang. Jesse Salas representing Victory Pace Racing. Itkinen representing Auto Racing Connected. And finally, The Truth Serum representing... Oh, sorry, The Truth Serum we're already with. He's representing Greasy Sasquatch, Greasy Sam Squatch, sorry, YouTube Racing. So Sanchez with our fastest lap so far, clocking 2:20. Let's see where he is on track. A few hundreds purple here through the first sector. As you can see, tire wear is on for qualifying in this series, so drivers have to make way while the sun shines here, and those tires are at their optimal. They start to go away pretty quickly. A little bit of traffic here that Sanchez is coming up on with RWB's Ardwan. Doesn't look like it's going to hold him up too much. We got MMR's crashing Chris in the pits. And let's switch over to Itkin and see where he is on track. Sitting in second right now, just about a tenth back of Sanchez with a provisional pole. 10-minute qualifier here, about 7 minutes in now, so just a couple minutes left here for these drivers to put in the hot lap, and it comes back to the pits. Let's see who else is on track here. So we got Cake Thomas here with Midwest Esports. Just finished a lap, he had a 2:18.4, 41.4 seconds back in pole position. Fifth. VPRL's long shots. He's 2 seconds back with 2:18.9. Jesse just behind him with a 2:19.1. And he's headed into the pits to change his tires. Let's see if we can find some folks finishing up their lap here. Who we got coming through here next? So I'm going to Crash and Chris is going to be the next one to finish lap. Looks like he might be on the lap here unless the timing is off, which is entirely possible as well. We'll stick with him for a minute and just see how he does through this last sector. Crash and Chris coming down to the last couple corners here. As I mentioned, he's representing Monkey Mafia Esports here in that white and black Mercedes. He crosses the line. That was an outlap, so that one's not going to count. Let's see who we got next on track here. Quiet Bird coming through. His last lap was a 2:19.6. That was his fastest. He's 2.7 seconds back. Sanchez first. Racing in 8th place. Rocking that plaid once again this round. Infinite Octane. This has been their trademark. The orange and black plaid. Hard to miss, I'll tell you that much. Here we go, 2:19.6. Not good enough to improve. RWB's Chevy did not improve. We got a couple cars in the pits. RWB's Eidolon's coming through here now. As the clock winds down, we got 3 seconds left. So the drivers aren't on track to be able to finish the lap. Oh, Eidolon gets a little loose there through that chicane. And let's see how he finishes here. 2:23, no improvement there. And we got Eric, aka Dr. Jethro. He's running the purple and white livery of the Epilepsy Awareness Racing team. They're going to be having an upcoming series to raise both awareness and some money for epilepsy research. So great to see. A little charity in the community there. You see, we got Sanchez coming through. We got a few drivers still on hot lap here, so let me see who's first out on track. We'll stick with them. It is our 10th place. No, sorry, our 4th place. Yeah, RWB Chevy is out there first, and there is a train of cars behind him. Hovercraft giving a little flash there, running there. Chevy's just doing his thing here. Nice line through those corners. Hovercraft all over his bumper. Idle line right behind. And it looks like Hovercraft's almost pushing Chevy around the track at this point. They are really on top of each other. Not the best strategy for qualifying, unfortunately, for these 3 drivers. You know, you want to be close enough that you might catch a little bit of a tow, but not so close that you're battling each other, especially on the last lap. And RWB Chevy pulls out. Hovercraft goes wide. And let's see if we can't find out. We got a mess there at the last chicane. We got Jesse off track. We got Longshot off track. Kate Thomas coming through for Midwest Esports. He gets through that chicane. Let's see what kind of a lap time he puts down. No improvement for him, so he finishes 5th. And that looks to be just about everyone, I believe. Jesse's still on his final lap here, but we're not going to see an improvement from him. He's carrying a penalty. And that looks to be it. Everybody else is on their final lap. So we've got Sanchez sitting in pole position with a 2:16.327. We've got Itkinen behind him by 7/10 in second. The Truth Serum in third. Idlemind in 4th. Hovercraft in 5th. Kate Thomas in 6th, VPRL's Longshot in 7th, Jesse in 8th, Quiet Bird in 9th, RWB's Chevy in 10th, MTB in 11th, Crash and Chris in 12th, Online in 13th, and Eric in 14th. So that is the end of our qualifying. Nice work. We'll just send a quick message to the drivers here. So we'll start the race at 20 in. There we go. Okay, so we'll just wait for the racers to get ready, check their tires, So this particular series in VPRL is 3 races. It's a team versus team series. So scoring is done by adding up the total race time of the 3 drivers from each team. The teams have 1 driver in each of our 3 lobbies, and the team with the fastest cumulative race time is in first place and are awarded points as such. And that goes on down the order. We also give a bonus point for pole position across 3 lobbies, so that's the fastest lap of all the drivers in qualifying. And the same for fastest lap. It's the fastest lap across all 3 lobbies, not per lobby. So a bonus point available for each of those there. In this race, all 3 tire types are mandatory, so the drivers must satisfy GT7 requirements for tire usage and get at least 1 lap in on each compounded tire. So we will, if this is like last race, some varying strategies out there between our drivers, trying to make the fastest tires last as long as they can, and obviously use them in an order that puts them in the best place to finish strong at the end of our 40-minute endurance race. Alright, let's just check and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 drivers ready. Give me a couple more minutes here. We'll start in 3 minutes. I'm just going to screenshot those qualifying results. There we go. We'll send a little message to drivers. As you can maybe read from what I'm typing on the screen there, we do have 1 red flag per round. Red flag in this league is an incident involving contact and damage to 2 or more cars in the first sector of the track. So that'll take us just up over the Rouge. Alright, so we'll get started here in 1 minute. Looks like all of our drivers are ready to go. If you do follow VPRL on social media, we've been posting profiles of each of the teams and or leagues that are competing in this series. They all offer something a little different in the GT7 community, whether it's endurance racing, streetcar racing, GT3, GT4, all kinds of different formats, and lots of different teams to fit just about every driver out there. So have a look on social media for VPRL, and you can have a look at those different teams and leagues and see if there's anything that fits your schedule, fits your style. And we are 20 minutes after, so we will get this started. Alright, here we go. So this is a grid start with false start check, so our drivers will have to hold either a foot on the brake or on the parking brake so that they aren't given a false start and penalized at the line. Some of the GT7 penalties are turned on. Shortcut penalty is on. And pit lane penalty is on. Flag rules are also active. And we've got 5 lights. And the lights are out. And we're away. It looks like all the drivers got off the line cleanly. Turn 1 is always an interesting venture. Oh, we got one driver off there. Look quickly down through the order, make sure we don't have any damage to any of our drivers. We got one car doing some damage. That was our car that went off there, I think. So I didn't see any contact between those two, so let's see what happens there. RWB's idle on. No, we do have damage to 2 cars, but it doesn't look like there's an incident between those two. So let's have a look with our leader here. Sanchez managed to hold on to that hard-earned pole position. He's opened up a half-second gap to Itkinen right behind him. So Sanchez, as I mentioned, is representing the Aston racing team. And in second place, we've got Auto Racing Connected's Itkinen, followed by Greasy Sasquatch YouTube Racing's Detrice Serum, Sector 7's Hovercraft, representing Sector 7 Racing. We've got Jesse here representing Victory Pace Racing Team. We've got VPR's Longshot as well, representing the home team, Victory Pace Racing League. We've got Clive Bird here in 7th. He's representing Infinite Octane and that clad Mercedes. RWB's Chevy, representing GPG Champions. MMR's Crash and Chris, representing Monkey Mafia Esports. RWB's Idlon, representing Red, White, and Blue Racing. Idlemind, representing Speedhouse and UFO Racing. And Kate Thomas, representing Midwest Esports, just overtaking Idleline there for 11th place. Let's move. Down in 13th, we've got Eric for Epilepsy Awareness Racing and MTV, who is here with Gear Bangers Racing League. Oh, Eric is taking a little venture off track there, coming in pretty hot into the chicane. And looks like he might have been reset by GT7 there. And we got Jesse in already, getting rid of those hard tires, putting on something new, and he's out onto softs right away. So aggressive strategy with Jesse, starting with those hard tires and straight into the pits. Looks like he slots back out in 12th place. So he was in 7th before the pits. Alright, back up with our leader here, Sanchez. He's got a 6/10 lead here. Slipstream and GT7s, usually around 7/10 of a second, so it is well within that. He's staying a half a second there. A few passing opportunities around this track. We'll see what these two do here. Let's go down the order a bit, so we start, and then we've got a bit more of a gap back in third place. Detrice Serum's 2.5 seconds back of Itkinen. And then he's got almost 2 seconds back to Hovercraft. 5 down to Quiet Road. So you can see the field is really starting to stretch out a little bit here as the drivers settle into the race. We did have a little bit of contact. That was in the first lap, so expected that things will spread out just a little bit as guys recover from that. But here we are. Quiet Bird down here. He's got RWB's Chevy closing in on him, 1.2 seconds behind for 5th place. And we got Crash and Chris about 6 seconds back of Chevy. Kate Thomas behind him, 3/10. And he's been making moves here already tonight, so I expect we'll see him probably make a move on Chris. Not maybe into the chicane, but probably coming up the hill, I would expect. Idle Mind's got a half-second penalty there, like in track limits. Let's stick with these two for a minute here and just see what happens. He doesn't go for a move into T1. Oh, he does. Takes the inside line, and he makes that pass work right through turn 1. Now he will give Crash and Chris the tow up the hill here. We'll see if Chris is able to take that position back as they go up the hill and down that long straight. Fell out of the tow a little bit there. And he's got himself about 7/10 back. Crash and Chris running the wipers there. Just a hit button on the wheel by mistake. Alright. We got Idle Mind here. Still in 9th place. About a second back. VPRL's long shot just 1.3 seconds behind Idle Mind. 1.4 make that. And he's on mediums. RWB's Idle on, 4 seconds behind him, also on mediums. We got Jesse, who was one of our first drivers to pit, and he's on softs. You can see those soft tires are starting to wear already. We got Eric here. He's a minute back of first place and about 34 seconds back of Jesse. And we got MTB, who's carrying half a second there, likely for a track limit penalty. Looks like he was probably just into the pits as well, which placed him back here in 14th place. He's got some brand new racing mediums on that Mercedes. Let's go back up to our leader. So we got Sanchez on hards here, so he's just finishing up lap 3 on those hard tires. And he's going to stay out on them. So as you can see, strategy's diverging already. We get some drivers in on lap 1 with the hards. We've got our leader out there into lap 4 now on those hard tires. And with the tire wear, that might not be a bad strategy. You can see Jesse already on those softs, starting to see quite a bit of tire wear. So 6/10 of a second back to 2nd place. McKinnon back there, and for all racing connected. Let's see if he can use that toe down the straight here and maybe look at the chicane at the end of the straight. No, he's so far back for that. That gap's taking about half a second. Sanchez going purple here, still on his hard tires. Aiken is on medium, so he does have the tire advantage here, but you can see the tire wear difference between those two tires. Medium's obviously not wearing as quickly as the softs, but he'll certainly start feeling the effects long before Sanchez does, if Sanchez decides to stay a little bit longer on the hards. The Truth Serum, 3 seconds back in 3rd place. He's also on the mediums. Hovercraft also on the mediums, a further 3 seconds back in 4th. Quiet Bird on the mediums as well, so this seems to be the most popular strategy choice at this point in time, is those medium tires at the start. RWB's Chevy mediums as well. Thomas on the mediums, Crash and Chris on the mediums, Idle Mind on the hards, and he's got himself another half-second penalty. Seems to be having some disagreements with the track stewards here on where the limits of that track are. VPR's long shot again, sticking right with Idle Mind here. I got to think those penalties are helping, but long shot certainly holding his own. And he's got the tire advantage over Idle Mind too, so we might see a pass happen here when Idle Mind serves his penalty just around this next set of corners. And we're coming up to the penalty zone here now. Idle Mind is served his penalty, it looks like, and Longshot is through into 9th place. There we go. So Idlemind with a clean slate now. Idlemind is a quick driver. I don't expect he will stay in 9th place for too long here. And he's into the pits on those racing hards, looking to get rid of those after finishing 4 laps on them. So I think that's 3 drivers by my count that we've had now into the pits. RWB's Eidolon here in 11th place. Challenged by Jesse, who is up into 10th there. Nice move by Jesse into turn 1, but of course he'll give Eidolon a tow up the hill. We'll see what he can do with that. So we got MTB back here. He's 49 seconds back in the next driver. He's down in 13th place here. He has pit, so there's a bit of an offset because of that. But I expect he's run into some trouble being gotten back this far. I know that's not representative of his pace. And then we've got Eric here in 14th. That very nice purple and white AMG, representing Epilepsy Awareness Racing. And he's about a second back of MTB and about a second and a half off our leader Sanchez. So Sanchez here, still on those hards into lap 5. Looks like, you know, as long as he's able to hold Itkin off with that, who's carrying that tire advantage on the mediums, he may as well do it. He's not losing anything to the drivers behind. That gap is slowly building, so he's got, just 3.5 seconds back to 3rd place, 7 seconds back to 4th. So, really, if he can keep cruising along like this on those racing hard tires, he should find himself with quite an advantage later on in the race with newer tires, as those drivers who pitted early are starting to struggle a little bit. And there we go, he's on those hards. He's still putting in purple laps, just with 2:18.47 there for our fastest lap of the race. Go down the order, we got Itkin Engineer still in 2nd place. So we got the Truth Serum, got a little sideways. You can see those recent mediums are starting to wear a little bit. He's about a third of the way through those. With the latest physics update in GT7, the tire behavior has changed significantly. So once those tires start to go off, they really, really go off. The loss of grip is notable. So these drivers are all very experienced. They'll know what's coming, and they'll know their own capability on those more worn tires. We'll run a strategy according to that. Hovercraft here, back and forth, 7.7 seconds back on the leader, just 2.5 seconds off to Truth Serum now, so he's still right in it. Quietbird a bit further back, so he's part of that second little group of cars we've got here. He's 8 seconds back to Hovercraft here in 5th place. RWB's Chevy 3 seconds behind him. And then we've got Thomas here in 7th, right on RWB Chevy's gearbox. So maybe we'll stick with these two for a second here, see if anything materializes as we come into this final sector of the track here, where there are some good opportunities for overtakes. And you see Thomas really just right on Chevy's bumper, pressuring him. He's kind of weaving around, seeing if he can force Chevy into a mistake. Oh, there'll be a little contact there, certainly. Thomas threw it down the inside. Looked like both drivers gave each other room there. Thomas is through in 6th place, so another move by him. He's been, like I've said a couple times now, he's been making moves up the order. He found himself off into the gravel right off the start, but since then has made some great progress, and he's already starting to close the gap to quietly in 5th place. Yeah, 4 seconds here now. So we know Chevy there, 12 seconds back to VPRL's Longshot. He's on those racing mediums, and again, about a third worn, so he'll start to feel the effects of that. Jesse on those softs, if we remember, Jesse pitted on lap 1 with the hards. to take the softs, and they are just about toast, ladies and gentlemen. I can't imagine he's going to go too much further on those. But he's also in a position where we're not even 15 minutes into this race, so he has got a long way to go on those mediums if he chooses to change tires anytime soon. We're only 7 laps in, and we've started to see the medium runners suffering a bit of tire wear, so I think Jesse's in for a long night if he's got to run those mediums to the end of it now. So maybe we'll see the alternate strategy out, maybe a 3-stopper instead of 2-stopper. Just to see. Eidolon's 46 seconds, so we're back from our leader, just 6 seconds back from Jesse. He's cruising around here on those mediums, down 10th place. Crash and Chris here in 11th on the mediums as well. Looks like his tire wear is a little worse off than Eidolon's. These drivers all have different driving styles. Some are a little more aggressive, some are a little more smooth, and that obviously has an impact on the tire wear as the race goes on. Eidolon back here, 50 seconds off the lead, so he's just out of the pits. He's on fresh mediums here after having run his hard tires for the reds. And looks like he's starting to make some moves here. He's closing that gap to Crash and Chris already. He's got that, as we're watching it here, the 10th of a second, just shedding off that delta. So I expect he will be making up that difference pretty quickly. Got MTB here in 13th. 30 seconds back of Eidolon, and we got Eric in the pits. He's on some very, very worn softs, so we'll see what he does here. We'll come back around to him in a little bit. So Sanchez here, he's still sticking with those hards, still putting in great laps. Got a little bit of a timing risk there. So looking at his last few laps, he's in the mid-218s consistently. He's racing on the tires. Starting to see a little bit of wear out of them, not as much as the mediums, but still wearing a little bit. He's got a 1.2 second gap with that Dick, and for a while it was down under a second. He was getting a little bit of tow. Had a few opportunities, maybe just a little far back. But he has fallen out of that slipstream range now, and Sanchez just seems to be plugging away on those hard tires. And lots of pace there for sure. So Itkinen's on the mediums. He's about 50% worn here now. So, like I say, I expect we're on lap 8 here. I expect we'll start to see some of these guys making a change here soon, especially the guys that started on mediums. So they really starting to suffer a little bit of tire wear. Got to Truth Serum here in 3rd, 5 seconds back of Itkinen, so he's still right in us, really. I mean, a little bit of variation in pit strategy, an undercut maybe, and the Truth Serum could find himself right in the mix for those top 2 spots. As it is now, he's got a 2.5 second buffer back to Hovercraft for that final podium spot. These guys' teammates, both for Sector 7 Racing, obviously racing for different teams here in VPRL's Oktoberfest of Speed. The Truth Serum is representing Greasy Sam Squatch's YouTube Racing, and Hovercraft is out here with S7R, so his home team. Back to 5th place, we got 12 seconds to Quiet Bird. Quiet Bird's still in those mediums. So Kate Thomas, he's in 6th here, so I think the last we looked, he was down to about 2.5 seconds. Now we can see he's got it down under a second, so he's really been head down since that little mistake at the start. I'm not sure we missed what happened there, but clearly something happened to send him off track, whether contact or not. We'll have to let the stewards maybe have a look at that after the race, if there's an incident report filed. But he has been making progress through this field from that moment on. And he's down to half a second here. Looks like he is setting himself up for the old switcheroo on Quiet Bird. Doesn't quite get alongside, but he's right on Quiet Bird's bumper. I expect he'll just sit right here up Radion and Eau Rouge, and then use the power of that toe to just float by on the straights. So again, 0.3 of a second, so that should put him in a pretty good spot here to overtake Quiet Bird by the end of the straight, although Quiet Bird got a bit of an exit there, so Kate Thomas not able to close that gap in time to use that toe to make that overtake. Let's continue down through the order here. Oh, Kate Thomas off into the dirt a little bit. Alright. RWB's Chevy back here, 3 seconds back of Thomas for 6th place. Chevy currently 7th. He's got 22 seconds back to Idle Mind, who is getting, since that pit stop, making some good progress. Looks like he's starting to close that gap back to Chevy. It is a big gap, but I believe he's, I think, in first place of those who have made a pit stop to this point. But you can see already he only pitted a couple laps ago, I guess, and he's got some tire wear there already on those mediums. Now here's Longshot, who started on the mediums, is still on the mediums, and he's got to be starting to feel the pain here on those, because they're getting pretty worn out. Yeah, we can see him get a little sideways. Good catch there by Longshot. Some yellow flags waving. What do we got going on up here? Can't see who that was. We did see some blue flags waving there. I'm not sure if Sanchez is dealing with a bit of drag. No, he's way up at the first straight here, so I'm not sure what that was all about. So it can end that gap up to 1.6 seconds now, as Sanchez is he is on cruise control here on those racing lights. Doesn't look like he has even broken a sweat behind the wheel there. And we've got Itkin in here still in second place, 2.5 gap. To Truth Serum's 8 seconds back, 9 seconds back from the leader. Hovercraft just hovering between 3.5 and 4 seconds behind the Truth Serum there for the final podium spot. Quiet Bird 14 seconds back, and Thomas has got that gap down to 1.1 seconds, and he's got 3 seconds back to RWB's Chevy. 20-second gap. So we see Idle Mind already. He's taken 3 seconds instead of RWB Chevy since we last checked in on him, and that was about a lap ago. So he's really moving on those mediums, and we can see Chevy, by contrast, the tire wear is significantly higher on Chevy's mediums. That will explain some of the pace difference between these two drivers. VPRL's Longshot here. He's just about 8 seconds back of Idle Mind. He's got 4 seconds back to RWB's Idlon. Sitting comfortably here in the top 10, 9th place. Again, he's got some pretty significant wear on those mediums, so I expect we'll see him coming into the pits here before too long. He is yet to pit, so he'll have, whatever the strategy, some fresh tires to finish this race for sure, as we're over the halfway point now, 17 minutes left to go in this one. There is a runoff time of 180 seconds or 3 minutes, just to allow our drivers to finish their lap. That's the 40-second time their lapses. So they do need to account for that when they're fueling up too, assuming they do need to fuel up. And who we got? We got our second place driver into the pits here, getting rid of those mediums. We got our 4th place driver into the pits as well. Let's see where Itkin comes back out on track. And he comes back out in 3rd, 13 seconds back of Truth's Serum. And Truth is, he's running on some pretty old mediums here. A little bit long in the tooth. So I expect we'll see him coming before too long. So look at Kate Thomas here, up into 4th place now. So again, he's been making moves. Those mediums are looking pretty tired, but he's really been on a charge since that first corner lap 1 incident. He's got a few drivers ahead of him who've pitted now. That's placed them behind him on track. But as far as position goes, I suspect he's probably sitting around 6th or 7th place. Hovercraft down on fresh racing hards. We'll see what he does here. We've got a few drivers with different strategies on the hards. A few guys pitting after a lap. A few guys like our leader, Sanchez, up here. 11 laps into this race, still on the hards he started on, and still putting in very consistent laps. And really not any sort of real challenge from anybody else here. Itkinen was on his gearbox for a bit and kind of fell back to a comfortable 2.5, 2 seconds back before he decided to pit. Let's see what our leader does here as he comes to the final chicane on the start finish straight. And he's going to keep going. Why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So 12 seconds back, we got to truth serum. Still on those racing mediums. Let's see if he decides to come in and give those a change, and yes, he does. So we'll see what he goes on to when he comes out here. Let's see. I expect it, and he'll be back up into 2nd place. Let's see what that differential is after the pit stop. Interesting to see that once he overtakes the truth serum. Oh, he's into the pits as well. So he was one of our drivers who decided to only run those hard tires for 1 lap. Kick Thomas in with those very worn mediums. We got a whole bunch of drivers here. Hovercraft's in on the hards. Idlemind staying out there. So Idlemind, he pitted a couple laps ago. Disregard what it says on the right side of the screen there. Unfortunately, GT7 has some issues with the timing screens. So what we're seeing on that right-hand side is not necessarily what actually happened in the race. Although, now that he crossed the finish line, it looks like it's that way. He did pit on lap 9 to put on those mediums after having done the hards at the start. And he's got himself up into 4th place here. We'll see what happens after all the pit stops shake out. But certainly making some moves there. RWB's Chevy. He's 10 seconds back to Idlemind. He's on fresh racing hards. He ran those mediums right down to the carcasses before he decided to change them out. And we got a little battle brewing here. I'll tell you, Thomas has been right in the middle of it all race long. He's made some pretty impressive overtakes, and he's shown good speed. It's unfortunate the start that he had there, or otherwise I think he'd be right up there with our top 3-4. As it is now, he's back kind of in the 2nd group of cars. That is where we got 5th through 9th right now, and then we've got 11 seconds back to Jesse there for Victory Pace Racing in 10th place. Long shot a little wide there. See what the stewards have to say about that. And looks like he might have got away with that one. Alright. And there's Jesse, like I say, 11 seconds back. He's got a 20-second buffer back to Idlon here, 11th. Who's got MTB right on his gearbox. I suspect there's a bit of a pit differential there. But MTB has definitely made some progress after having a rough start to this one. Crash and Chris down in 13th. He's 2 minutes off our leader. He's on some fresh, soft tires. Carrying a half-second track limit penalty here at the moment, which he will be serving momentarily. And then we got Eric in 14th. He's 4 minutes back of our leader. Putting in some pretty consistent laps here, though. He's got some 228s, 229s. A couple incidents by the looks of it in there. But he is making it work in that purple livery. Alright, back up with our leader here, Sanchez. So after the pits, he's got a 20-second gap back to it. So we will see what happens. Oh, sorry, our leader Pitt, I missed that. So he came in for fresh mediums. So he ran those hards for 12 laps, came in for the mediums. So now we've got our two drivers on an equal number of pit stops here, first and second place. And somehow Sanchez has managed to eke out a 20-second lead over Itkinen. Unless, oh no, sorry, Itkinen did pit. Did he pit twice? I can't recall if he had the hards. I think he might have put the hards on for a lap and come back in for the softs, looking to run the last 11, 12 minutes on those. And as we've seen from the drivers who have pitted early onto the softs, they wear out very quickly. So hopefully Itkinen's a bit of a tire whisperer and they're able to get him through these last 10 minutes here. And yeah, those softs are working for him at the moment. We can see he's going 1.3 seconds purple through the first couple sectors. We'll see here what that looks like when he comes through the final chicane and across the finish line. Certainly not looking like he's losing any time here, so if he's clean through this final chicane, I suspect we'll have a new fastest lap of the race here from Itkin on those softs. And as he crosses the line, yes, a 2:17.2, so there's our new fastest lap of the race from our second place driver Itkinen for Auto Racing Connected. So these drivers on the softs, they've got lots of pace in them, they just don't have a lot of laps in them. So we'll see how he manages to do the strategy here. He's still sitting 20 seconds back with our leader, Sanchez. Thomas sitting in third. We'll see where things come out after all of our drivers get through their pit stops here. But I gotta tell you, as far as drivers moving through the field, this driver here has been impressive tonight. He's really making his way through, making lots of clean overtakes from what I can see, and making those tires work for him. He's on the softs here now, and yeah, as I'm looking at it, he actually just put in our fastest lap of the race with a 2:16.9. So clearly a driver with some pace, and he is hunting down those podium spots. Currently sitting in third, 3 seconds back of him is Sector 7's Hovercraft with the Truth Serum there for Greasy St. Clutch YouTube Racing, right on his gearbox, 7/10 of a second down. So he'll be getting a bit of that slipstream from his teammates in terms of teams, not teammate in terms of VPRL's Oktoberfest of Speed, but certainly two drivers that are familiar with each other on the track. Stick here for a second, see what these two drivers can do as we come through this sector. There is an opportunity for an overtake here, certainly coming down into the final chicane, and then of course turn one. And if you can get that toe up through Radio and Eau Rouge, certainly plenty of opportunity at the end of that straight into the second chicane. So let's see what the Truth Serum's able to do here on these racing softs. Couple laps old, but still look like they've got some left in them. And yeah, both drivers cleanly through the chicane. The Truth Serum was a bit far back to make a move there into that final chicane. 7/10 of a second, the gap between these two drivers. Through turn one cleanly. And looks like they'll take a run up the hill here. Still hovering around 7/10 of a second, so might be just a bit too far back to make any move here, even by the end of this straight. We'll continue down through the order. So the Truth Serum, he's got 6.5 seconds back to Blackbird. Oh, and the Truth Serum picks up a half-second track penalty. That is not going to help. So any progress he makes here against Hovercraft, unfortunately, will be handed right back once we hit that penalty zone down towards the third sector of this track. Quiet Bird back here in 6th place. He's been making some, he's some consistent laps here. He's in the, low 220s, 221, 222. Oh, and he gets it a little wrong there. Commentator's curse. I apologize for that, Quiet Bird. As Idle Mind takes that gift, and he's up into 6th place, 10 seconds back of the Truth Serum. So Idle Mind on those racing softs. Obviously a few laps newer than Quiet Birds, who's really starting to struggle a little bit on those. As I mentioned in the last few updates in GT7, that tire has really, it drops off a cliff once those tires get past about halfway worn. And our leader is into the pits. Let's see what happens here. So he's on the mediums currently. He's run the hards already. So he is going to be putting those softs on, I suspect, for the last 5 minutes of this race. And boy, this is going to be close as Itkinen crosses the start-finish line. Provisionally in first here, we'll see where Sanchez comes out of. And he's on his way out. Yeah, so Itkinen's got about a 5-second lead. I think Itkinen must have a pit stop left. I didn't see Sanchez make any mistakes that would have put him, had him lose that much time. Although we haven't been with him the whole time, so it's entirely possible. But he has been absolutely dominant this race, particularly that stint on hard. Super impressive how long he was able to make those last and put in those consistent 219s right from the very first lap to the time he took them off. So we'll see if that consistency pays off for him here. And unfortunately, I wish I would have paid a little bit better attention to the pit strategy of our current leader here. As it is, I'm not really able to tell if he's made both those pit stops or not. I suspect maybe he's still got the hards to go. But we will see. We got Thomas back here in 3rd place, 10 seconds back of the Aston gang. Sanchez, he's got 3 seconds back to 4th place, Sector 7's hovercraft, and the Truth Serum right behind him, 2.5 down. These two drivers have been nose to tail all race long. Pretty impressive 40 minutes of racing, and these two drivers have just been right there with each other the entire time. A little bit of back and forth, close the gap, open the gap a little bit. Two very consistent drivers, and as I say, two guys that would be familiar with each other's driving style. Oh, we've got Eric, I see off in the gravel there on the left-hand side. Let's have a quick look at what's going on with him. And he's back. Oh, and he loses the back end again. Got some drivers coming through here. And he's making the turn back off into the gravel a little bit. Let's see if he can get back out cleanly, and he does. And rejoins safely, leaving lots of space for the other drivers on the track there. That. Well done, Eric, recovering from that and getting back out on track without impacting the race of any of the other drivers. So Itkinen here, he's 7 seconds now, so he has built a bit more of a lead to Sanchez. Sanchez on those softs though, so I expect he will, now that he's got a lap in them, they will have warmed up. And given the pace that he's shown us here so far in this race, I expect we'll start to see some purple sector times from Sanchez here. And no sooner do I say it, there we go. He's 1:10 purple through the first sector. And yeah, still 7 seconds, just creeping down into the high 6s there, that gap to Itkinen. Hovercraft back in 3rd place. 11 seconds back. So Thomas, yeah, he must have he pitted here, so he's on some fresh racing cards. So we'll see how this works out for the drivers ahead of him here. We got Idle Mind. He might be in a bit of, of course we're down to the last minute here. He shouldn't have more than enough fuel. So as we count down to our 40-minute timer, again, there's a 180-second runoff here, so any drivers who cross the finish line before the 40-minute timer runs out will have 3 minutes to finish the last lap. And as we've seen, these drivers in this lobby do not need 3 minutes to get around this track, so should be no issue, everybody finishing the laps. So Itkinen out here, 5.5 second lead, so something must have happened to Sanchez that we missed on the screen here. It's too bad, because he was really, he had this thing all wrapped up after that first stint. So, unfortunate that something happened to him and built up that 5-second gap, but a big win for Itkinen there. Great race. Sanchez crosses the line second. Sector 7's Hovercraft coming through here in third place for Sector 7 Racing, with his teammate the Truth Serum for Greasy Sam Squatch YouTube Racing right on his gearbox in fourth. And we got 6 seconds back to Idlemine, so Idlemine was able to make some progress there, back to 5th place. He had some trouble at the start of the race, but made his way back to the order. We've got VPR's Jesse here, 20 seconds back of Idlemine, and he's going to bag himself a 6th place. So really great showing for Jesse. I was a little worried a couple times throughout this race about the tire wear he had going on, but he knows his strategy better than I do, and he made it work. We got Thomas here coming in 7th again. Super impressive driver. He was off at turn 1 into the gravel. Made a lot of progress. Quiet Bird through 8th. We got RWB's Chevy coming out of the final chicane here. 7 seconds back in 9th place. VPR's Long Shot. Looks like he should finish out the top 10. He's got 5 seconds back to MTB in 11th, so as long as he makes it through this final chicane here cleanly, which he does, on those racing soft tires, and he crosses the line in 10th. Good top 10 finish for the home team, VPRL's VPRL Long Shots. MTB across 11th. RWB's Eidolon just getting past a lot of traffic there. Eric through for 12th, and Monkey Mafia's Crash and Chris for Monkey and Mafia Esports across in 13th place. And Epilepsy Awareness Racing, Eric, across in 14th. Lots of action in that one. Congrats to our winner, Itkinen, for Auto Racing Connected. Solid race from him. Really kept it close to our first place driver, and looks like there must have been an incident somewhere that we missed on stream, unfortunately, and he took advantage and took home that very important victory. Again, first place in the lobby is nice, but this series is all about race time. So your race time gets added to that of your 2 teammates in the other lobbies. And from there, we calculate the team with the fastest overall cumulative race time for the 3 drivers. And that is our winner of this round. So, great race again by all the drivers here. This series has been super competitive through the first 2 races. Lots of quality overtakes, lots of clean driving, lots of fast drivers. So we are back here next Monday at Nürburgring GP in the BMW M6 Endurance model for the final round of VPRL's Oktoberfest of Speed. On the line, of course, some pretty swanky VPRL Oktoberfest of Speed pint glasses with the winning team's logo on them, and some commemorative number plates to go with them for the 3 members of the winning team. So again, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Hope to see you next Monday on stream as we finish off the Oktoberfest of Speed. And hope to see you in VPRL's Discord or on our social media channels, checking out all these great teams and leagues that are getting the opportunity to promote themselves through Oktoberfest of Speed. Have a good night, everyone, and we will see you next race.